Good evening, everybody. My name is Stratos Panagidis. I will be hosting this webinar. I am pleased to have with us Faisal Shabir. He's now based in London. He's the country manager there, and he has been with EC Council for many years now. He's quite knowledgeable in issues pertaining to cybersecurity, and he will talk about the challenges that cybersecurity is facing nowadays, both internationally and also some special reference to the Cyprus environment. He will also talk about the training opportunities offered by EC Council and Actina together. Actina is the accredited training center by EC Council in Cyprus and is offering the whole range of the EC Council courses. The floor is yours, Faisal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Stratos, hope you're able to hear me well.
Yes.
Right. So, yeah, first and foremost, good evening to each and every one of you. Happy to have you in this session and hoping that this session is going to have some benefit towards spending some time with us this evening. I know that it is quite probably early evening, so this is the time when you all want to spend some time with your family, but I would not take more than 35 to 40 minutes maximum. I'll try to wind up so that you can have the rest of the day for yourself. Just to introduce myself, so my name is Faisal Shabir and I represent EC Council as a senior country manager for the UK and the European. I've been with EC Council now for over 3 years, and primarily I enjoy talking to all of you. I enjoy talking to aspiring cybersecurity professionals who are interested in looking at cybersecurity as a career specifically. So today as an agenda, I will be covering the following topics, what you see on screen. So I start first with what's the market problem we see today towards threat landscape, the different kind of attacks, what we all have been hearing about a lot when we look at the news at every given time nowadays, followed by what ethical hacking means and why ethical hacking. And then what the market changes are we seeing today, followed by student expectations. So whenever any candidate or any delegate decides to, to pursue a certification, what is it that they expect from a certification, right? Followed by the CEH Certified Ethical Hacker. This is one of our latest versions, which is version 12. So I'll give you a little bit of an introduction about that. What are the updates from the previous version to the latest version? Followed by the 4-phased framework, specifically when it comes to the version 12 of Ethical Hacker, which is learn, certify, engage, and compete, right? So I'm going to be running through this in detail as I go on with the slides, followed by a quick walkthrough towards what the labs look like. So whenever you enroll into the Ethical Hacker course, how does the lab looks like, what the lab consists of, and probably I will just share with you one of the modules, which is quite an interesting one and very, very popular, which is social engineering. And then what the packages of CEH is. So the version 12 is in fact split into 3 packages. I will give you more information about it as we move on. And then I'll keep the session open for any questions you might have at the end of the session. So to begin with, as EC Council, so we are today known to be one of the world's largest cybersecurity certification and training bodies. We've been in the industry for over 22 years now, having more than 400,000 certified members worldwide. And if you look at that number of 1,000 plus subject matter experts, which means that the courses, the content which we design is not entirely done by our own team, but we take information and we take knowledge and we take advice from professionals who are today serving as CISOs for some of the largest organizations, who are head of cybersecurity, who work in the IT department, because they are the people who are on the floor. They are the people who follow live situations when it comes to cybersecurity. So we always connect with them in such a way so that our program, our content is designed taking into consideration real life scenarios. So we always take information and advice from subject matter experts. We're spread in more than 150 countries with over 2,000 certified instructors all around the world. When it comes to our learning track, so just wanted to quickly run through what our learning track looks like. So today, obviously, I'll be covering Certified Ethical Hacker, but when you look at the entire learning track, our learning track obviously starts from entry-level professionals. So those professionals who are looking at cybersecurity as a career, who are career changers, maybe today you're working in a finance industry or you're working in logistics, for example, but then because cybersecurity is a very lucrative career, and you decide that, okay, probably I want to move into the cybersecurity career, then you always start from your basics. So it starts from CSCA, which is Cybersecurity Awareness Certification, followed by Essential Series. Now, Essential Series is a completely free of cost course, which means that it consists of video courses, it consists of your entire courseware. So let's say that if you want to understand what the cybersecurity industry looks like, and if probably this is the industry you want to get into, we have offered the courses completely free. On how to attain that, please get in touch with Stratos, with Tina, and they will let you know how you can get access to the course. So the Essential Series, in fact, is split into three. The first one is the Network Defense Essential. So it is for those professionals who want to pursue a career in networks, which is primarily moving towards a blue team kind of a course. Then you have EHE, which is Ethical Hacking Essentials. So Ethical Hacking Essentials teaches you the fundamentals of cybersecurity. And then you have the Digital Forensic Essentials, which is DFE. Okay, so these are very, very fundamentals. These are entry-level courses, and these are for beginners. These are for those professionals who today want to, look at cybersecurity as a career as you move on, right? And then you have the CCT, which is Certified Cybersecurity Technician. So apart from the NDE, EHE, and DFE, CCT also covers security operations, which means that if you want to understand the fundamentals about compliance, disaster recovery, business continuity, security operations, asset management, that is what candidates learn in the CCT program. Then you come into the core programs, which is CEH and CND. CEH, again, is something which I will cover later on. CND is a network defense program. This is for those professionals, obviously, who work in a blue team or who work in an area where it is more of how to defend your networks. And that is what you learn in the CND program. And then you have a few specializations. I'm not going to be covering everything in detail, but these specializations mainly cover your vulnerability assessment and pen test and track. It covers your network defense, where you have programs like SOC analyst. It has programs like cloud security engineers. Obviously, today, a lot of organizations are moving from a traditional infrastructure to a cloud infrastructure, or rather, they use hybrid infrastructure as well, right? So in such scenario, it is very, very important for all of you to understand how securely you can configure multiple platforms, be it Azure, be it AWS, and be it GCP. So that is what candidates learn in the CCSE program. And then you have other programs like threat intelligence, IoT protection, ICS CADA. ICS CADA is basically to do with critical infrastructure organizations, right? So from a security perspective, how you can protect organizations when it comes to OT, operational technology. Then you have incident handling and response programs, which is into hacking and forensic investigation and incident handling. And then when it comes to application security, you have programs like ECDE, which is EC Council Certified DevSecOps Engineer. And then last but not the least, Certified Chief Information Security Officer. That is an executive leadership program. So individuals who have completed 5 years in cybersecurity in multiple domains within the industry. That is where tomorrow, that if you want to think that, okay, you want to move into a leadership role within your organization, CISO is the only program which actually gives you the complete portfolio of what the leadership program actually looks like. Right. So it is more of strategies, it's more of vendor management, it is more of budgeting, and as well as how to manage a team. What are the legality and the governance options you're going to be looking at? That is what students are going to be learning in the CISO program. So that's in a nutshell what the learning track looks like. So let's look at the cyber threat landscape. Starting off first with, you all must have heard about the Move IT attack, which happened last year, probably, or a lot of people must have heard about that last year, right? So the Move IT attack, what basically happened is that a Russia linked ransomware group they in fact injected a zero-day vulnerability into the MoveIT secure file transfer application. Okay. Now, zero-day vulnerability is basically something where even the developers of the software are not aware or do not even have a patch to cover the vulnerability which has occurred. So the Russia-based group, what they've done is that they injected a zero-day vulnerability, which in fact affected 2,600 organizations worldwide, which means 83 million individuals were affected, right? That is a pretty huge number. Now imagine, 83 million individuals being affected means that's being quite a large number, right? Moving on, OT security, which I just mentioned about a few minutes back. Now, OT security has been growing quite enormously in the last few years, right? Especially last year in some of the countries, what is listed down there, it has been notified that 47% of the attacks in critical infrastructure organizations are ransomware attacks. So when I talk about critical infrastructure organizations, I'm talking about manufacturing companies, energy houses, oil and gas, transportation sector, where there is a 24-hour operation happening. So these are critical infrastructure organizations. Today, a lot of critical infrastructure organizations are being targeted. Okay, and that again, the numbers are being growing. Another one, which again you all must have heard about probably, is the Maersk cyber attack. Now, this happened quite a few years back. I think it's around 4 to 5 years. The reason I wanted to share this is specifically because I believe that a company like Maersk, if a company like Maersk can be a victim of an attack, imagine a lot of other companies out there, right? When you talk about Maersk specifically, 55,000 devices were encrypted by ransomware, and that also all of them were encrypted in 7 minutes, right? So it was a pretty huge attack. Again, it was done by a Russia-based group, right? It was called the NotPetya ransomware. You guys can all go and Google that out. But then the reason why I wanted to share this specifically is because, when you talk about Maersk, they manage shipping, they manage logistics. Their ships carry more than 20,000 containers at one time going to multiple parts of the world, where they have criticality in terms of making sure that the shipment reaches on time to any destination possible, right? Now, when a company like that is a victim of an attack, now imagine their entire operations goes for a halt, which means that there is quite a lot of effect when it comes to financial impact. And Maersk itself, the impact they had is around $300 million, right? And that is huge, right? So moving on from the threat landscape, specifically in Cyprus, cyber attacks hit about 25% of the Cyprus business. So approximately 1 in 4 businesses was a victim of a cyber attack in Cyprus as of last year. Okay, excuse me, sorry. Among businesses in the technology sector specifically, 97% of them, they in fact considered these technologies and strategies related to cybersecurity being very important. So cybersecurity is taken as a very important factor across organizations. Okay. Furthermore, 26% of them only have reported experiencing a cyber attack. Now, imagine there are quite a lot of them who haven't even reported because, again, there is a lot of factor when it comes to reporting such kind of attacks, right? Because it's your own, let's say, when you talk from a business perspective, it is your reputation, which is very important, right? So sometimes organizations do not report is basically because they don't want their reputation to be spoiled as well, right? And that is a huge concern. Now, overall, when you look at this, industry experts as well within the organization, they have identified that learning and skill development is a major opportunity within the industry, which means that organizations, though they have the security infrastructure in place, but they also need to have those professionals who have the right amount of skill, who have the right amount of knowledge when it comes to cybersecurity as well, employed in these organizations. And that is a very important concern. Now, the ICT re-upskilling program, excuse me, sorry for that. So the Cyprus government, obviously, and the private sector, they have in fact united and they have introduced the ICT re-upskilling program, right? And this again is something which was initiated just in the month of January last month in the year 2024, right? And this initiative is specifically designed to train unemployed individuals, right? Those probably who have some degrees with them. So the idea here is to introduce them into the IT field. Even the commissioner of the communications, he in fact has stressed quite a lot in this, that there is a gap of 350,000 cybersecurity roles across Europe specifically, right? That many roles have to be filled, right? And that is the challenge organizations are facing today. So as I mentioned clearly, it is just not having the security infrastructure in place, but it is also having the right skilled people working in that organization to ensure that attacks don't happen in the near future. So looking at the market problem, which most of it I've already defined, is the cost of data breach. For example, the Maersk cyber attack, which I mentioned, $300 million is a very, very huge number. 67% of them, they in fact agree that there is a shortage of qualified cybersecurity candidates. And that is exactly something what I'm referring to out here, right? By the year 2025, there is 3.5 million cybersecurity roles which needs to be filled. That is the estimate. And obviously with the extent of attacks growing today, that is the estimate what we see around the world, right? So from the market problem, we move on to ethical hacking. Excuse me. So when it comes to ethical hacking, what ethical hacking is all about? Ethical hacking primarily means stimulating attacks in an organization's network and systems, right? So when you talk about a role of an ethical hacker, it is mainly identifying these kind of vulnerabilities, identifying what the security gaps is all about, penetrating into your computer devices and networks, obviously with the permission of the organization, right? Assessing how effective the security strategies have to be in place within the organization, demonstrating, in fact, how a threat actor operates. So the role of an ethical hacker, in fact, is to get into the mind of a hacker and understand how the vulnerability has risen, right? Helping organizations prepare for these kind of cyber attacks, and most important is enabling these sort of organizations and companies to make those kind of necessary decisions in place so that risk can be managed very, very effectively. So that is what ethical hacking is all about. So now moving down, dwelling down back into the program, which is the Ethical Hacker version 12. We as EC Council have been in the industry, as I said, for over 20 years, and that is when the Certified Ethical Hacker program was born. Today, even Forbes has identified CEH as one of the top 8 security certifications, which is a must for any individual who wants to be in the cybersecurity industry, right? So why the reason CEH is out there on top is because of the accreditations it holds, because of the way how the program is designed. The program is accredited by the Department of Defense of the United States. It in fact maps to the 8140 mandate, so which means that all the job roles which is aligned to the Department of Defense 8140 mandate is something what the CH program pertains to as well. Along with that, the exams are ANSI accredited as well. So that makes the program very, very highly recognized, even when it comes to career opportunities. So sometimes I always say, that when you talk about a lawyer, let's say, once a lawyer completes his or her certification, probably he would be able to maybe get 1 or 2 roles within the industry he's in. But when it comes to CH specifically, there are 20 different job roles which are specifically mapped to the program. We're talking about information security analysts, cybersecurity consultants, SOC analysts, cybersecurity auditors. So there are multiple kind of roles available when it specifically comes to cybersecurity. Even when it comes to industries today, quite a lot of industries in the field of education, engineering, military, telecommunications, healthcare, today they are hiring ethical hackers, right? I wanted to kind of list down a few snapshots also from some of the kind of job roles which are available in the cybersecurity field, specifically in Cyprus. And again, these are certain jobs which I picked out just from just basically browsing LinkedIn, right? So if you get onto LinkedIn, there are so many roles specifically in the field of cybersecurity. And again, doing a program like Ethical Hacker or any other cybersecurity certification domain, the industry, there is a need for multiple roles within. So I'm just showing you Cyprus out here, but then when you look at it all around the world as well, there is a need for cybersecurity professionals out there, right? Even when it comes to multiple organizations, there are quite a lot of large organizations. You can see some of the big logos out there like Deloitte, Microsoft, Accenture, where they hire ethical hackers specifically. Even when it comes to accreditations, as I mentioned, and again, I'm not going to be repeating the same thing due to the interest of time, but the program is very, very highly recognized, which means that even if you're looking for jobs outside the country you are in, the program or the certification will allow you to give that recognition in whichever part of the world you are in. Again, success stories, right? So I don't want to talk a lot about, how good the program is. My role here is to guide you towards, what the program is in terms of the content of the program, in terms of how the program is designed. But then if you want to go and have a look at it yourself, get onto YouTube, you will find a lot of success stories being spoken by professionals today who are working in the industry, who are today working as CISOs, who are working as IT managers or in any field. They will in fact tell you the program has helped them gain confidence. The program has helped them in getting a promotion or getting the kind of dream salary what they have been looking for example. So the program has actually helped them in attaining everything positive when you look at from their own job perspective when it comes to the ethical hacker certification, right? Now our research specifically says that CEH buyers and students, when it comes to going for a certification, when it comes to pursuing a certification in cybersecurity, there are multiple factors you need to look at it, right? The first factor is hands-on experience. So the program should be designed in such a way that it should not be a lot theoretical, because when you're in the industry, you need to have that hands-on experience. You need to have that practical experience of going and working out the labs and trying to go and test and challenging yourself in multiple areas, so that you know how you can effectively upskill yourself within the area of your job, be it in any particular role you are doing in cybersecurity, right? And then even in terms of the breadth of content, in terms of the content, how deep the content is, and the accreditation as well, how recognized the accreditation is. So this is basically what the students are looking at. Even when it comes to the buying criteria, quality of the program, the content, how deep the content is, and the brand and the recognition. These are some of the major criteria when it comes to selecting a certification, right? Pricing is not a factor out here, right? Because sometimes a lot of people think that, that they want to go for a low cost cybersecurity certification. But problem here, what happens is that when you obviously look for a low cost certification, it would not hold the content the program does have, right? So it is sort of an investment what you're trying to put in yourself, because when you complete a program like Certified Ethical Hacker, it would give you that amount of salary, or that whatever you're looking at in the upcoming future. So an ideal training provider like Actina, how do they help you? First and foremost, they help you in your learning journey, which means that right from the time you start your training all the way up to your completed training throughout your exam, they support you in the entire learning journey. They provide you opportunities to practice as well. So as I mentioned, it is just not theoretical learning, but also opportunities of multiple areas of how you can practice the labs, the different modules you learn, right? So it gives you that opportunity to practice as well. Preparing all of you for the certification as well. So obviously, as when it comes to attempting for your exam, they kind of guide you through that entire path on how you can effectively attempt your exam, and then encouraging all of you to compete and refine your skills as well. So it is just not going through your training, but also certain aspects of the program which kind of helps in challenging yourself as well, so that tomorrow when you are working in any industry, or when you're on the job and you come across a challenge, you should know how to effectively work towards a challenge so that you're successful, right? And these are certain skills where it will help you to refine, and this is again something which a training provider like Athena is going to support you on as part of the program, right? So moving on, as I had mentioned in the beginning of my session, the program is designed with 4 frameworks. The first framework is the Learn framework. This is where you gain your skills. Your second framework is your Certify framework. That is where you gain your recognition. Your third framework is gaining experience. And the fourth framework is gaining respect. So the first one is Learn, Certify is the second one, third one is Engage, and the fourth one is Complete, which I will go through in detail shortly. So when it comes to the Learn framework means that the entire program is only for 5 days. So you, in fact, can complete your entire ethical hacking journey in 5 days. It consists of 20 modules and it has 3,500 hacking tools which are preloaded. And in terms of hands-on labs, there are around 220 labs which you guys can all practice on, which is the highest I have seen compared to any other program you see around the world out there, right? When it comes to your key updates as well, there are quite a lot of new technology updates you're going to be looking at, like the Mithra attack framework, the Diamond model of intrusion analysis, fog computing, grid computing, edge computing. So these are some of the latest technologies which you will all learn in the latest version. Even when it comes to the operating systems within the labs, they are all the latest operating systems. When it comes to course content, as well as I mentioned, 3,500 hacking tools and 519 attack techniques. So all of these is something which you're going to be learning in the program. So the second framework is your Certify framework. Now, this is a very, very important set of information which I want to share with you. Now, the program is designed in such a way that within one program, you all have the ability to get not one, not two, but 3 certifications, right? Your first certification is your knowledge-based exam. So your knowledge-based exam consists of 125 multiple choice questions. You're given 4 hours to complete that entire exam, and successfully completing your knowledge-based exam, you get your certified ethical hacker certificate. Adding on to that, in order to test your own abilities, in order to test your own skills, you then have a practical exam as well, which is a 6 hours long exam, and it has 20 practical challenges. So here you would not have your multiple choice questions, but there are literally challenges for you to go and attempt on. So successfully completing that, you would then get your CEH practical certificate, right? Now, once you have attained your knowledge-based certification and your practical certification, so these 2 certifications, once you have attained both of them, you then get your third certification, which is called the CEH Master, and that is where you attain your mastery. So that's why I have mentioned that the program gives you the ability to have not 1, not 2, but 3 certifications in one program. The third framework, very, very interesting one, called the Engage framework. Now, this framework was never there in any of our previous versions. We have been designing the ethical hacker program now for over 20 years, right? So till our last version, which was version 11, we only had the first and the second framework. But now the third framework, called the Engage framework, gives the ability for candidates to have your own experience in your learning journey, which means that whatever you have learned, the 4 different stages of ethical hacking which you have learned, you're then going to be applying these 4 stages on a live scenario. So it could be a scenario where, let's say, healthcare industry or healthcare organization has been a victim of a ransomware attack, right? So how effectively using the 4 stages of ethical hacking, you would then find the vulnerability and also look at remediation methods for that as well. So it is kind of gaining an experience before you actually get onto your job, right? So the program gives you that ability to have an engaging session within a platform. Once you enroll into the course, you then get access to this particular platform. Sorry. And then you have your fourth framework, which is your compete framework. The compete framework is again where you would be able to challenge yourself every month by multiple challenges based on what you have learned in the program. So for example, a certain month you will have a challenge on IoT attacks. Another month you would be having a challenge on Wi-Fi network attacks or DDoS attacks or mobile attacks or supply chain cyber attacks, for example, right? So what you all have to do is to go and attempt these challenges. How successfully you have completed the challenge, your name then appears in something called the CEH Master Ethical Hacking Leaderboard. Okay, now this leaderboard is a global leaderboard. So all the ethical hackers around the world, they compete in this challenge, and they, based on how they have successfully completed, their name appears among the top 10 certified ethical hackers in the world. So that in fact is a sense of pride for all of you as well. So depending on how successful you've completed, this is something which you can, I don't know, put that across on your LinkedIn profile, for example, being one of the top 10 ethical hackers in the world. And it will then help and support you in getting your dream job in the near future. Sorry. So my key takeaways to this is that the program is designed in such a way that 87.82% of people, they in fact dedicate their time constantly learning something new in terms of new skills, in terms of new techniques. So the program doesn't finish by completing your 5 days of training, right? It's a continuous learning journey, right? And that's one of the elements which I had explained in the compete element, where you have challenges to attempt for the entire 12 months, right? So every month there is a new challenge. Every month you're learning something new, right? And because the cybersecurity industry is quite an evolving industry, it's being so dynamic that you have to be constantly learning new skills and new techniques. And this is just a survey taken that a lot of certified ethical hackers do this. So to summarize, the program, as I said, is divided into 4 frameworks. The first framework is your skill, gaining where you gain your skills. The second framework is certify, where you gain your recognition. Your third framework is the engage framework, where you gain your experience. And the last one, which is the complete framework, that is where you gain your respect. Right? There are total 20 modules. So in these 20 modules, you all are going to be learning multiple topics related to enumeration, scanning networks, vulnerability analysis, malware threats, session hijacking. So there's quite a lot of program you're going to be learning within the module. Right, so I just want to kind of run through the lab and just show you how the lab looks like. So just bear with me so that I'll be able to share my screen. Share. There you go. Stratos, if you could just confirm if you're able to see my screen. I'm just launching the lab right now.
Everything looks fine.
Okay, perfect. Right. Okay. So while the labs are loaded, so I just wanted to kind of give you information. So when you enroll for the course, you would also get access to the labs, right? Now, as I said, because the program is quite heavily hands-on learning, right? So all your modules, guided learning is something what you would go through within the lab environment. So the labs environment, what you would be enrolling into is called iLabs, which is part of the Learn on Demand, right? There are all those multiple modules, what you've learned, around 20 modules. That is where you would also have this multiple, hands-on learning, which is around 220 different kind of labs. What you see based on multiple modules, what are available in the program, right? So while the labs are loading, again, what happens here is that it connects into the virtual machine. So I just wanted to kind of run through the lab environment. I wanted to show you how the guided labs looks like, what are the resources available in the lab, what is the vulnerability and the vulnerability tool which we use within the lab environment. So, you all must have heard about Kali Linux. Similarly to Kali Linux, what we use in our labs is the Parrot security, right? So if you look at on your right-hand side, I have I've opened the module number 9, which is on social engineering. You all know that more than 90% of the attacks today happen through social engineering, right? It could be sending a malicious link to a victim. It could be sending a malicious attachment to a victim, for example. It could be, maybe spoofing the email address, for example. So there are multiple ways of social engineering. So on your right-hand side, you will in fact find the resources which are available. So these are all the latest operating systems which we work on. Parrot Security is the vulnerability tool which we are using within the lab environment. So it gives you step-by-step instructions towards how to perform your labs. So if you see on your right-hand side, it will give you screenshots and it will also tell you, what are the codes or what are the entries, what you need to put on as you proceed towards identifying attack. So so what so when you look at these lab session on the right-hand side, what I'm actually trying to show you out here is a social engineering attack. In this attack, what happens is that a cyber criminal, in fact, has cloned a website. Okay, and a website which the cyber criminal has cloned is called Moviescope, which is kind of like your movie subscription website. And while the cyber criminal has cloned the website, it would then entice the victim to go and click on a link, because what the cyber criminal is doing here is that he is going to be sending a link via an email to the victim, so that the victim is then enticed to go and click on the link. And while the victim is clicking on a link, a fake website opens up called Moviescope, which looks very, very, very similar to the real website. So it's more of like a cloned version of the website, right? Now, here what happens is that the user or the victim then gives his or her username and password. While doing that, the criminal is able to get information related to the name and the password of the victim. Okay, so if you look at the entire, let's say, step-by-step process, so everything is very, very easily defined in a step-by-step process within the module. So similarly like that, you would find this across all the modules within the program, right? I'm now heading back into the presentation. Stratus, you're able to see my slides back again? Just to confirm?
Yes, that's
Perfect. Okay.
fine.
Right. Okay. So previously, our version 11 packages, they just consisted of your courseware, your labs, and your exam voucher. That's it. So they were all three bundled in together to become one bundled price, right? And that's all. There's no other elements included into the version 11 package, which was just the previous package, probably at the beginning of last year. So when we launched the latest version is split into three different packages. Your first package, which is on your right-hand side, the one in yellow, is the base. In this package, you get the courseware, you'll get the exam voucher, you'll get the next version courseware. It comes with one free retake as well, right? So earlier, students or candidates had to pay more than 500 euros just to attempt another retake, right? Because I understand sometimes what happens is that it might be a bit more overwhelming when it comes to attempting an exam because it's quite technical in nature as well, right? But then what we have done now in the latest version is that we are giving the ability to at least attempt one free retake in our base version itself, along with two free video courses too. Then you move on to your CEH Pro. The CEH Pro consists of the same, but instead of one retake, you have three retakes, right? You have 5 free video courses as part of the program. You have access to your labs and the Engage version. So if you remember, I mentioned about having the experience using the 4 different stages and finding out a vulnerability of a certain organization, right? So that framework again, all over, it's included in the Pro package. And then the last one, which is the elite package. Today, we call it the king of all packages because it consists of everything, but instead of 3 retakes, so one retake, it has unlimited retakes. Now, unlimited, again, there is a cap to that as well, which means that in a year, you can take up to 4 retakes over and above the one exam which you're already attempting on. So in total, you have like 5 attempts to do, right? Again, completely free. You're not paying anything extra for your retakes. You have 10 free video courses. You have your labs access. You have your Engage edition. Here you have your global challenge. So the one where I mentioned where 12 months of challenges you have. Every month there is a new challenge which will give you the ability to appear in the ethical hacking leaderboard. So that is something which is available in the elite package. followed by your exam prep, which is more of like a mock exam preparation for all of you. And it also has your CEH practical exam voucher. So in the other two versions, you would have to pay additional for your practical. You would have to pay additional for exam prep. You will have to pay additional for your global, challenges as well. But in part of the elite, all of that is provided free as part of the package. So there is no additional cost to that, right? So overall, when you look at the package, you are in fact getting all of that completely free, because earlier you all had to pay for it, which means that you got to pay for your retakes, you got to pay for your ethical hacking library, you have to pay for your practical exams, you have to pay for your exam prep. So all of them is part of the package now, which is provided in the elite package, right? So I would now hand it over back to Stratos to give you more information about when the program is scheduled, so that you all can go and attempt the program. Over to you, Stratos.
Thank you, Faisal, for this informative presentation. Just to emphasize a few things from my um, perspective, the fact that the CEH course is now much more practical than it used to be some years ago. One of the comments we used to receive was that the course was a little theoretical. Now it contains labs, and actually within the package, the bundle you get is 6 months iLabs, 6 months labs that you can use during this period as part of the bundle, which also includes what Faisal has mentioned, the unlimited number of retakes. Hopefully you will not need them, but just in case. It includes, of course, the official digital courseware, some video courses, about 10 of them, I believe, which are free of charge, the practical exam, which might take you to the master certification, which is a higher certification. So you get this package. Actually, those of you who are eligible for subsidy, who are employed by the Cyprus-based organization, they are eligible for subsidy, which means that the cost of all these participation, exam, labs, and all the other features, including engagement, competitions, and so on, is only 950 euro. And that is the course beginning on March 11, 5 consecutive days, plus 1 optional on Saturday. Please feel free to register and obtain any other information you may need necessary. If you are not eligible for subsidy, the cost is still reduced. It's about $1,400, I believe, roughly. This is an interesting prospect. You have heard Faisal emphasizing the importance of scarcity of security professionals. And it was quite interesting to listen to George Michailidis, who is the Commissioner of Communications, the other day, urging youngsters to follow cybersecurity career instead of doing some other not so much in demand jobs. So there is a Q&A session if you would like to ask something.
Right. So to end with, yeah, again, if you do have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer any questions you would have. You will find my details out there as well. So I'll be more than happy to accept your invitation as well over LinkedIn, if you would like to, or if you probably cannot think of a question right now, but maybe later on in the day, or maybe a few days, if you suddenly come up with a certain question and you would like to ask, you have my email address. Feel free to connect me on LinkedIn, or you can always ask Stratos as well. And we are here to to sort of support any sort of a question you might have or any guidance you need before you attempt the certification.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. We look forward to seeing you on our next webinar. We will introduce a series of webinars, probably twice a month, so you will be invited to our next webinar. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you, Faisal, for your valuable contribution.
Thank you very much, Stratos. It was my pleasure talking to all of you and looking forward to speaking to you once again somewhere in the near future. Have a great evening and the rest of the day. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Bye-bye.